Hello there, my name is Peter Thompson and this is one of my teaching videos, and this one is called The Secret of the 3-Gap Backswing, the triple gap backswing. Bit of a long title, and the 3 gaps are very, very important. I'll show you the first gap. And the first gap is this. Your right hip's going to turn round, so there's a gap between your right instep and the golf club. Top tip 11, top tip 1 will show you exactly how to do this, all on the website. But I'm going to show you someone doing it now on my computer. His name is Mark Wiggett. And here's the first gap. So top of the backswing, there's a gap between the right hip and the yellow line. Gap number 1. Mark is a golf pro, and his gross scores include a gross 62, 61 and 60. The 60 was in a pro competition, 12 under par. Taught him for quite a while now. Very nice guy and very good swing. And there's gap number 1. Vertical line from inside the right instep, and the right hip now is inside that line. So gap number 1, right hip inside the right heel. Again, look at top tip number 11 and top tip number 1. Gap number 2, and if you can get all 3 gaps into your swing, I can almost guarantee you'll play better golf. You almost simply have to. Most people don't realise, but in the swing, your arms move away from your body, so they move this way. If you then combine that with a good turn, you'll get a gap between your right hand and your head. So, lift, turn. So there's a gap between the right hand and the head. I think the first 2 gaps are more important. But if you can get 3 gaps, we'll do the 3rd gap in a second, then it will be even better for you for your consistency. So gap 1, turn the hip. Gap 2, push your arms away, turn your body around. Gap between your right hand and your head. Let's look at some of my pupils doing just that. This young man's called Morgan Taylor. Handicap was 23 when he was 14, got down to 1 handicap when he was just over 17. And there's gap number 2. Gap number 2 is between the right hand and the head. Look at teaching videos number 10, 11 and 12, and that will explain in a lot of detail how to get this 2nd gap. So there's gap number 2. And the whole point of getting these gaps is to improve your impact position Like so. Very, very good. The stance gives you the backswing gives you the impact position. I'll just go back quickly to Mark Wiggett's swing and look at the impact position. This is a 3-iron. So gap number 1, gap number 2, and the better the backswing, the better the impact. How about that? That's just fantastic. Whoa, 2 gaps. The title of the video is The Secret of the Triple Gap Backswing, but in golf there aren't any secrets really, just movements from a good stance. So gap 1, gap 2. The third gap is this one. It's between the shaft and your head. Between the shaft and your head. If you allow your arm to bend, your left arm to bend in the backswing for any reason, you will not get the third gap. Of the 3 gaps, this one is probably the most important one because it comes first. Pushing your arms away is the second most important, and the least important one is the one between the shaft and your head. But if you can get all 3, you will definitely become more consistent. Guarantee it. Arms away, and if you think about it, to push your arms away from your body, you wouldn't achieve that by bending your left arm. So there's the 3 gaps. Back to my computer, and I'm going to show you a few more swings. All people I've taught. Les Young on the Ladies European Tour. Gap number 1, gap number 2, right hand to the head, and gap number 3, shaft down to the head. Teaching video 19 on my YouTube site will show you about the left arm and should it bend or should it straighten when in the backswing. I think if one can, the left arm should be dead straight. It just makes the downswing more consistent. So gap 1, gap 2, gap 3. Let's watch the impact position by having all 3 gaps in place. That's outstanding. Outstanding. Extremely good. The stance gives you the chance of having the 3 gap backswing, and the 3 gap backswing increases the chances of a good impact position tremendously. It really does. Let's watch a couple more. On the left is a man called Martin Young. I've taught him for more than 20 years now. This month, October 2020, he won the Hampshire Mid-Amateur Championships for the 10th time. Was a +4, now a +3. Phenomenal good golfer. On the right is a man called Richard Betts, and they both play at Brockenhurst Golf Club in the New Forest in the UK. The New Forest is absolutely beautiful. If you ever get the chance to go there, just go. It's outstandingly good. So, do they have the 3 gaps? Well, Martin sure does. big that gap. So Richard, lowest handicap +2. Wrong line, let's get the right line. Gap number 2. Gap number 3 is smaller, but his left arm is dead straight. It depends on how flexible your wrists are. If you have very flexible wrists, you might find the shaft goes just behind your head, but if your left arm is straight and you've got gap number 1 between the hip and the line, well, that's absolutely fine. The wrist hinge between the people I teach varies from 60 degrees to 150 degrees. It's a 90-degree variation. That's a huge amount. But 3 gaps, 3 gaps. 3 gaps then produced the impact. And there's both of the hands past the ball before the club head hits the ball. So the stance gives you the chance of having a 3-gap backswing, and the 3-gap backswing allows you the chance of hitting the ball as well as that. So that's the end of this video. It's called The Secret of the Triple Gap Backswing. Nice title like that. It's really good. 1 gap, hip, 2 gap, right hand to the head, 3rd gap, shaft to the head. And if you can get those 3 gaps, I just know you'll become better golfers. Some golfers can do that with a driver. 5-iron, 6-iron downwards, you need to have 3 gaps. If you can get a huge wrist hinge, and some people can, then obviously you won't get the gap between your head and the shaft. But for most golfers, the average wrist hinge is about 90 degrees. 3 gaps. I hope you've learned a lot from this video, and thank you very much for watching it. Thank you.